The headlines hit like a lightning bolt. Jasmine Pineda arrested and facing possible deportation. The internet buzzing with claims of a $70,000 betrayal scandal involving Gino. Every fan and critic instantly started connecting dots, speculating about what really happened behind the cameras, while social media exploded with fragments of her cryptic posts. Was this the dramatic end of her American dream? Or was there more to the story that we hadn't seen? The truth is messy, public, and tangled in a web of contracts, cameras, and conflicting narratives. Welcome back to Reality Spots. I'm Jessica. And if you haven't already, subscribe and comment below with your take. Who's really at fault here? Today, we're peeling apart what's confirmed, what's rumored, and what the fallout tells us about fame, money, and trust in the 90-Day Fiancé universe. From explosive fights on screen to the silent tension off camera, this story isn't just about headlines. It's about people pushed to the edge by ambition, expectation, and circumstance. Jasmine's social media in the last few weeks added fuel to the fire, leaving fans puzzled. One post hinted at betrayal, another disappeared after a few hours, leaving room for endless speculation. Meanwhile, Gino has been uncharacteristically silent, refusing to comment publicly, letting the story spiral on its own. TLC, known for quick PR responses, is unusually quiet, with insiders hinting at behind-the-scenes panic. Production footage, contracts, and past season tapes all seem to be under close review, adding layers to a narrative that nobody fully controls. Financial tension has been a recurring thread. Publicly aired episodes showed disagreements over money. But insiders suggest the situation escalated beyond what cameras captured. The whispers about missing payments, potential blackmail, and the looming legal implications create a cloud over everything we've seen on screen. Fans are left asking, did ambition and survival instincts cross a line that triggered legal intervention? How much did the pressures of filming, contracts, and social media expectations push them toward this breaking point? And here's the twist. Some of the most explosive moments might never even air, buried in TLC's editing vaults, leaving gaps that fans are desperate to fill with theories and leaks. The most shocking part isn't just the arrest, it's the timing. Allegedly, the financial fallout with Gino wasn't new. It had been simmering behind the scenes for months, ignored or managed quietly by production. But suddenly, the situation escalated into a headline-grabbing legal case, leaving fans questioning everything they thought they knew about the couple's relationship. How did their public image go from fiery romance to public scandal in a matter of weeks? And most importantly, what happens next as the financial betrayal angle comes fully into view? Jasmine always came across as larger than life on camera, fiery, emotional, and impossible to ignore. But off-screen, sources say a different rhythm emerged. There were moments of quiet doubt, private frustrations, and a subtle tension that the cameras rarely captured. Gino, in contrast, often kept a calm exterior in confessionals, but his words hinted at a steady undercurrent of concern and exhaustion. That contrast, the visible storm versus the hidden strain, made every episode feel electric yet precarious. The pressures of fame didn't help. Every argument, every dramatic pause, every tear became content. And with it came the weight of audience judgment. A simple disagreement over money or schedules could spiral into a mini crisis on social media, magnifying their fears. Fans dissected every facial expression and caption, amplifying the stakes beyond what either of them could control. The editing room only heightened the tension, cutting together fights, miscommunications, and emotional peaks to create a story that felt both immediate and intense. TLC has long returned to couples who naturally generate conflict, knowing that volatility keeps viewers hooked. But that pattern comes with consequences. Behind the cameras, small disagreements over daily life, finances, or visa limitations could be stretched into crises by the combined pressure of filming schedules, deadlines, and social scrutiny. Scenes that appeared spontaneous or explosive on screen were often the result of weeks of underlying stress. Fans might think they are seeing a raw emotional eruption, But in reality, it's the endpoint of countless unrecorded moments of tension. The more the couple's fame grew, the more cracks began to show. Arguments that might have been private or minor elsewhere became magnified, revealing the fragility of trust and patience. Every unresolved conflict, every disagreement about money or support added pressure behind the scenes. What the audience saw as a dramatic twist was often a slow-burning accumulation of stress, fear, and dependency. And here's where it gets even more intense. What we see on screen is only the tip of the iceberg. Production may have cut or reshaped moments that could explain why the financial tensions suddenly escalated beyond control. As their story progressed, the combination of fame, on-camera pressure, and personal insecurities created the perfect storm. Small arguments over money, trust, and expectations became catalysts for public fallout, hinting that what started as behind-the-scenes stress was about to explode into a scandal that nobody could ignore. Money has always been at the center of Jasmine and Gino's story, but the tension became impossible to ignore once the cameras started rolling. On screen, Gino repeatedly mentioned the stress of budgeting, talking about rent, bills, and supporting a partner while navigating his own financial obligations. His frustration was subtle but consistent, a steady drip that hinted at strain long before it exploded into arguments. Fans noticed the pattern. The more money became a point of contention, the sharper Jasmine's reactions appeared, creating a cycle that neither could fully escape. Jasmine, on her part, openly admitted she wanted stability and comfort, sometimes hinting at upgrades or opportunities to improve her lifestyle. She spoke about wanting to build a life in America that reflected her ambitions, from cosmetic procedures to potential influencer deals. These statements, aired on episodes and confessionals, weren't about extravagance. They were about perceived fairness and security. But combined with the limitations of her visa, which restricted her earning potential, every desire and request carried an added layer of pressure. It wasn't simply about money. It was about independence, survival, and trust. The tension escalated when public debates erupted over who was responsible for supporting whom. Fans dissected each exchange, taking sides and projecting opinions onto moments that might have been far more mundane in real life. When Jasmine responded to accusations about financial dependence, her tone often reflected a mixture of frustration and defensiveness. She acknowledged needing help, but also questioned why she was being blamed for circumstances shaped by visa restrictions and the dynamics of a newly merged household. The audience saw sparks. The underlying currents were far more complex. Money quickly became the measuring stick for trust. Every late payment, every hinted expectation, every disagreement about spending became symbolic of deeper issues: loyalty, honesty, and respect. When $50,000 to $70,000 was rumored to be in dispute, fans began to question whether these tensions were normal couple issues, amplified by reality TV, or whether something more serious was at play. Public perception shifted almost overnight, fueled by speculation, leaks, and selective storytelling. TLC's silence during this period only added to the sense of urgency, leaving fans to fill the gaps with theories. And here's the kicker. Social media didn't just react to the money drama, it magnified it, turning minor disputes into viral debates that spiraled far beyond anything the couple could control. As the couple's financial disagreements played out publicly, every interaction, every post, and every comment became part of a growing storm. The mix of limited income, perceived betrayal, and fan scrutiny created pressure points that eventually collided with the legal and immigration complications waiting just around the corner. The story was no longer just about money. It had become a ticking time bomb. And the next explosion was about to hit in full view of the online world. Every time Jasmine posted online, it set the internet ablaze. 1 minute, it was a cryptic caption hinting at betrayal. The next, a deleted story leaving fans scrambling for screenshots. Her followers couldn't keep up, and neither could casual viewers, trying to piece together a coherent narrative. Each post seemed carefully calculated, yet emotionally raw, leaving everyone questioning what was real and what was performative. The confusion fed itself, and soon every comment section became a battlefield of speculation. Gino's silence amplified the chaos. He didn't respond, didn't clarify, didn't defend himself publicly. That quiet, deliberate choice became a weapon. Fans dissected every old post, every emoji, every vague caption, looking for hidden meanings or signs of remorse. Silence, in this case, spoke louder than words. Every cryptic glance or deleted story from Jasmine was read as a confession, a challenge, or a hint that something massive was brewing behind the scenes. Social media didn't just observe, it fueled the fire. Instagram blocks became headlines, TikTok creators compiled hour-long theories, and Reddit threads turned into investigative forums. Every fan theory seemed plausible, even when the facts didn't fully align. The narrative was no longer under Jasmine or Gino's control. Minor cast members, when prompted by journalists or fans, gave tiny, seemingly harmless comments that only stoked the tension. A single post about loyalty, a vague warning, or a nostalgic memory was enough to send waves of analysis across platforms. Fans began noticing patterns. The timing of posts, which accounts were muted or blocked, and how quickly certain content disappeared. Every social media move became a clue in a puzzle that nobody could solve. The speculation grew so intense that TLC reportedly warned cast members to stay silent, trying to contain the narrative before it spiraled further. But the warning only made the story more enticing. People assumed there was a secret, a scandal, or something even bigger that production didn't want leaked. And the wildest part? Some fans believe the biggest moments weren't even posted online, hidden in private DMs or film scenes that never aired, leaving the social frenzy to guess the rest. Off-camera, tensions reportedly escalated between filming schedules. What looked like downtime was actually pressure building behind closed doors. The constant scrutiny, the financial stress, and the ever-present audience made every argument sharper, every reaction more intense. The combination of social media speculation, silent partners, and production oversight created a perfect storm. By the time the next episode aired, fans were already living in the drama, anticipating the next post, the next cryptic story, and wondering what would finally break the silence. Something was brewing, and it promised to explode far beyond the screen. TLC's silence was louder than any post or statement. When a network that normally churns out press releases, behind-the-scenes interviews, and carefully curated responses suddenly goes quiet, it signals more than a PR strategy. It signals panic. Historically, the franchise has a pattern. Controversial cast. Members generate drama, ratings spike, but when the stakes cross a certain line, production steps back. Episodes get re-edited, storylines are shelved, and the network shields itself from potential fallout. Jasmine's situation fits this pattern perfectly. Over the years, we've seen this with other high-profile personalities. Cast members who clashed with partners, pushed boundaries, or created scandals often found themselves facing selective edits or delayed episodes. Some storylines disappeared entirely, leaving fans wondering what happened off-camera. Public interviews with past cast members reveal a common thread: constant pressure to perform for the cameras while simultaneously being bound by contracts that limit what they can say or do. One minor cast member recently admitted in an interview that the stress of filming, combined with contract obligations, sometimes made them feel like they were walking a tightrope. Every reaction was monitored, every confession scrutinized, and every mistake potentially amplified. In Jasmine's case, the pressure seems to have compounded. Between filming schedules, contractual obligations, and fan expectations, sources suggest she was navigating an incredibly tight set of constraints. Her social media hints, the deleted posts, and cryptic captions may reflect frustration with these pressures, while production silence and behind-the-scenes caution suggest they were carefully managing legal and reputational risk. The combination of personal tension and network oversight creates a unique strain on any cast member, especially one whose storyline is at the center of controversy. And here's what most people don't realize. Some of the most explosive moments might never see the light of day. Footage that could clarify events is likely buried, waiting for a safe window to air or possibly cut entirely. Contracts also shape behavior in subtle ways. Cast members are expected to attend shoots, maintain story continuity, and sometimes adhere to scripted arcs without disrupting the narrative. When conflicts arise, the network often responds by distancing itself rather than intervening publicly. This distancing protects the brand, but can leave individuals feeling isolated or unfairly portrayed. In Jasmine's scenario, this distancing seems to have magnified the tension, leaving her dealing with both production expectations and real-life consequences. The network's caution, combined with contractual boundaries, appears to have created a perfect storm. What might have started as disagreements over money, lifestyle, or editing decisions now intersects with issues beyond the camera. And while we won't speculate on legal outcomes, sources confirm that behind the glossy drama of 90 Day Fiancé, immigration and visa considerations quietly added another layer of pressure. With filming schedules tight and production carefully navigating liability, Jasmine's position became increasingly precarious, setting the stage for a crisis that went far beyond typical reality TV drama. Jasmine's story isn't just about money or arguments. It's also tied to the very real pressures of a K-1 visa. Publicly available information shows that K-1 visas require couples to demonstrate financial stability, proof of genuine intent to marry, and ongoing compliance with U.S. immigration regulations. While most viewers focus on the romantic side of the story, the visa process adds another layer of stress. Couples living under these conditions often feel an invisible countdown, knowing that any misstep could jeopardize their ability to stay together in the U.S. For Jasmine, that stress appears to have compounded existing tensions. Dependence on Gino for both emotional and financial support added a subtle but constant pressure. Every disagreement over money or lifestyle wasn't just a personal argument, it carried real-world consequences for her immigration status. Public posts, cryptic captions, and deleted stories may have reflected her attempts to vent, signal, or even negotiate indirectly with the audience. Fans read into every phrase, every emoji, interpreting them as clues to what was really happening off camera. During her recent travel updates, perceptions shifted dramatically. Fans tracked flights, airport check-ins, and social media activity, speculating constantly about deportation. Some media outlets reported the situation as confirmed legal action, even when no official statement existed. That kind of coverage created an intense feedback loop. Jasmine and Gino were dealing with personal pressures, while the public narrative rapidly escalated beyond anything they could control. Family responses, or the lack thereof, also fed speculation. Her family in Panama had been relatively quiet on social media, leaving gaps for fans to fill with assumptions. Some believed she was sending coded messages in captions or private stories, hinting at betrayal or financial conflict. Others argued she was trying to maintain privacy in an increasingly hostile online environment. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. But the public narrative quickly turned personal struggles into a spectacle. And here's the part that makes your jaw drop. Every travel update, every minor post, was dissected as if it were a legal statement, turning ordinary actions into evidence in a drama nobody could control. By now, the stress had begun to show in ways even casual viewers couldn't ignore. Jasmine's social media posts became streaks of raw emotion, tears, cryptic captions, fleeting videos of frustration and despair. She wasn't hiding anymore, and the public could feel the tension radiating through every post. Each new update carried the weight of uncertainty, fear, and exhaustion. Fans who once admired her confidence started to see cracks, and the conversation online shifted from curiosity to sympathy mixed with judgment. On the filming side, Gino's responses took on a different tone as well. He remained calm, almost detached in late-season confessionals, but the subtle flatness of his emotional delivery spoke volumes. His silence contrasted sharply with Jasmine's heightened visibility, creating a feedback loop. Her public emotional outbursts triggered speculation, which in turn reinforced his guardedness. Sources note that trauma bonding often plays a role in volatile relationships, where conflict and reconciliation create intense emotional highs and lows. Every argument on screen wasn't just drama. It was a reflection of underlying fear, attachment, and unresolved tension. Public humiliation fueled reactions that might otherwise have remained private. Every argument, every breakdown became fodder for online debate. Fans split into factions, some fiercely defending Jasmine and criticizing Gino, while others condemned her actions and questioned her motives. The intensity of these opinions created pressure to perform or respond, adding to the psychological strain. Even minor posts or replies were dissected for hidden meaning, making privacy nearly impossible and amplifying the emotional toll. Gino's history of consulting lawyers in past seasons adds another layer of context. While he often appeared measured, there's reason to believe that legal considerations informed some of his decisions, including how he communicated, or didn't, with Jasmine and the public. At the same time, Jasmine's posts hinted at feelings of betrayal, whether from Gino, the production team, or the expectations placed on her by fame and contractual obligations. That sense of being trapped between personal relationships and public scrutiny pushed her emotions to the surface in dramatic, unmistakable ways. And here's the critical moment. Every breakdown, every post was being watched not just by fans, but by people behind the cameras who had the power to influence what aired, what got edited, and what could spiral out of control. As this emotional storm unfolded, the public fallout became inseparable from Jasmine's personal collapse. The combination of social pressure, fan judgment, and the relentless pace of filming created a situation where even small disputes escalated. Every glance, post, or deleted comment added fuel to the fire. And while the cameras and social media captured much of it, sources indicate that someone close to Jasmine eventually pushed back against TLC, advocating for her in ways that could shift the narrative and possibly protect her from further harm. That intervention set the stage for a dramatic confrontation that would test loyalties, production decisions, and the fragile balance between public persona and private reality. The end came slowly but unmistakably. Fans watching social media noticed a subtle shift at first. Joint photos disappearing, captions once filled with affection now gone, and the energy of their posts growing colder. The timeline of public distancing mirrored what insiders describe as emotional withdrawal behind the scenes. Small hints, like deleted stories or paused interactions, were easy to miss individually, but together they painted a picture of a relationship fraying beyond repair. Gino's actions were deliberate. Over several weeks, he removed nearly all content featuring the couple, erasing the curated image of unity that had once dominated their profiles. Fans noticed, discussed, and speculated, interpreting silence as confirmation that something serious had gone wrong. In parallel, Jasmine began posting cryptic updates hinting at exhaustion, frustration, and a desire to leave the U.S. Her phrasing was careful, yet pointed, enough to signal her emotional state without providing explicit details. Every post read like a private confession shared with millions. A glimpse into someone trying to reclaim control over a narrative rapidly spiraling out of her hands. Both sides projected exhaustion, a fatigue that went beyond typical reality TV drama. Public appearances became rare or non-existent. Interviews were minimal, and even casual engagement with fans dropped sharply. The tension that had built over money, social media speculation, and contractual pressures now reached a tipping point. Viewers could sense it. Comments on Reddit, Instagram, and TikTok were filled with disbelief, sympathy, and frustration. People felt they were witnessing the final unraveling, a collapse that had been foreshadowed through subtle signals, but confirmed only when the couple disappeared from the public eye as a unit. This final breakpoint wasn't a single explosive argument or post. It was a series of small cumulative actions that signaled the relationship could no longer withstand the pressures of reality, TV, public scrutiny, and personal conflict. Each deletion, each silent day, each cryptic caption contributed to the sense that the dynamic was beyond repair. Fans who had once cheered for the couple now debated whether the fallout was inevitable, blaming the pressures of fame, social media amplification, or personal missteps. The emotional weight of these decisions landed publicly, creating a somber atmosphere across forums and fan communities. And what's striking is how quickly the narrative shifted. The audience went from obsession and speculation to watching a story quietly collapse in real time. A reminder that even the most curated reality TV lives can fracture under pressure. This ending reshaped the franchise's image. 90 Day Fiancé fans saw firsthand the limits of production, the human cost behind the edited episodes, and the consequences of relentless online scrutiny. What began as a story about romance and drama transformed into a cautionary tale about fame, trust, and vulnerability. The public distance wasn't just a personal matter. It reflected a turning point in how viewers perceived the franchise's handling of cast members, drama, and the blurred line between entertainment and real-life consequences. The ripple effects of this final chapter would influence casting decisions, storytelling choices, and fan expectations for seasons to come.